Hello there, this is Michelle. You're listening to the Love, Life, and Energy podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 3 steps to attracting your ideal partner and being in that fulfilling, committed, and loving relationship. You're going to love this. It's going to give you heaps of insight, so stay tuned. Hey, my name is Michelle Chung, and I'm a live manifestation expert, which means I help women manifest their soulmate live in person, offline. And I help career-driven A-type alpha women find their man so they can have the amazing, committed, and effortless relationship they deserve. So if you've been single for a while and you've not been meeting the right kind of men, I'm going to teach you these 3 pillars or these 3 steps. It's going to give you heaps of insight, clarity, and hope that meeting that right guy is a skill that can actually be learned. And it's something that we didn't learn from our mothers, probably because they didn't know, or it kind of just came naturally to them. Or we weren't in that stage of human consciousness of our own human evolution of knowing these kind of things that we can actually put them into steps, into a strategy that can actually be repeated and work for us. And once you know these steps, you can use this pretty much in any area of your life where you're not seeing results. But also, we can start to teach this to our daughters and the young women around us. So you're going to love this. It's going to give you a lot of clarity. It's going to give you a lot of peace of mind, actually, as well, so that you know that this can actually be done, that, meeting the right guy. And this is the complaint that I hear a lot from women. It's not just that you're meeting, it's not for lack of meeting men, because I can see a lot of you women out there, successful, attractive, have amazing lives, but just not meeting the right men. So how can you meet the right guy for you? So I'm going to take you through this. It's really simple, but it's not easy. Like with anything in life, things that are laid out in this kind of strategy are simple, and all you need to do is follow it, but doing them is easier said than done. So let's get into it. So basically, step 1, it's all about release. So as I always like to say, that as no 2 atoms can occupy the same space at the same time, and the universal law of sacrifice also states that you have to give up something of lower value. So the lower value being the lower energy, lower vibration, or the past baggage, emotional baggage of past relationships. You have to give up something of lower value in order to receive something of higher value. So you have to kind of exchange it out and let go of that past stuff that doesn't serve you anymore, so that you can have that new relationship that you've always wanted, that is an upgrade of your past relationship. So, of course, if you've had one kind of relationship that you didn't like, why would you want to have the same kind of relationship? It's like having the same order at the restaurant over and over again, and you want that improvement in your life. You want to make changes and avoid that stagnation and actually move forward and improve in your life, right? So that step 1 is a really important step. It's not something that people consciously do, although now I think we're moving into this more of conscious world. A lot of people are interested and are very aware of personal growth, personal development, and understand that something that you want in your life, in your external life, if it's not happening for you, it's often, and well, it pretty much usually always is, that something internally is not happening. So you are not receiving the results on your external world that you want. Hopefully that makes sense. So a lot of the things in our life that we don't get it's a cause and effect kind of thing. The effect being our external world, the cause being our internal world. So if we are not able to make changes in our internal world, which is releasing the emotions, any trauma, actually some people may not believe that trauma is a real thing, that they're just emotions that are stuck that need to be released. And if you actually change your mindset on trauma, that it's not actually something that happened to you, it's not permanent. There's if you shift your mindset that actually things are always moving, things are always in flow, and that things can always change. So that actually gives you a lot more freedom and the opportunity to move into a new space, into a new way of being that is actually more workable for you. So thinking about, how definitely some exercises that you can do. I've done them with my coach. I do them with the students in my program to help you like identify, well, bring awareness, of course, the first thing, to the things that you need to release and actually do those exercises to let go of them. So a lot of the times you may do tons of programs, you may do like lots of research and information, but none of this makes any difference unless you actually do the work, do the exercises to actually transform from the inside. So it's funny because I had a good friend, and in the past, I was doing a lot of personal growth. And I remember saying, "You have to do this program. You have to join this workshop. It's amazing." And then she kind of said, "No, no, I've read about it online. I kind of know what it's about." And yeah, so I don't need it. So it's like, no, no, it's no, it's about experiencing it. It's about doing the work. It's about having those experiences. It's not replaceable with actually just researching things and just doing a ton of courses and just watching videos. That's not how you actually do the work to release. So, for example, one really amazing exercise that I did for myself to when I manifested my partner Raf a couple of years ago, I learnt about a, I guess, a technique, an exercise about resistance. I recognize that if I'm not getting the results that I want in my life, I need to recognize that there's some kind of resistance that I'm having to the new relationship. So I also saw that in a lot of my clients, that the reason why they weren't getting into having new relationships, they weren't meeting the right men, they weren't even seeing the right kind of men as a possibility for them, was because they had that resistance blockage. So once we when I did the exercise for myself, when my clients did the exercise for themselves, they recognized and they were able to release and let go of that blockage that was stopping them from even seeing them and energetically attracting the right man into their life. And also, when I did it for myself, released a ton of tears, a lot of emotions that had been stuck in my body. Not saying that these things have to be really heavy or really traumatic or really like, dramatic. It's just that our body is known now in kinesiology and Chinese medicine that we actually hold a lot of emotions in our body, and which is why I do a lot of felt sense exercises with my clients and also my program, so that you can be in touch with your body, because we are so much in our minds. We are so much thinking and analyzing and creating logic and rationalizing all the things that we do, that we really haven't been in touch with how to use our intuition, how to connect with ourselves, connect with our spirit self, our soul, so that we can actually, be a complete, whole spiritual being that we are. We're a spiritual being in a human body having a human experience. Okay? So, step one, it's all about that releasing. So being in touch with your body. As I said, there was a one particular exercise that you can do, a resistance exercise, and understanding that when these emotions are stuck in our body, it actually stops us from moving into the new future, those things that we say that we want to actually happen. So it's really interesting, because I guess it's kind of like the body's way of saying, hey, stop, hold on, you need to pay attention to me now. Otherwise, I'm not going to let you go. And actually, that was something that happened to me. I had a really bad back injury when I was in my early 30s, and I was still married to my husband at the time. And I was literally stopped in my tracks. I had had a martial arts injury. It screwed up a couple of the discs in my back, L4, L5, S1. If you've ever had back injuries, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Those particular vertebrae in the lower back that caused me to have sciatic pain. It literally stopped me in my tracks. I couldn't walk for about a year. I had chronic pain that I had to take painkillers. I'm really not someone who likes prescription medicine, prescription drugs, especially painkillers. I always believe that you need to get to the root cause of your pain, or the pain is a signal. The pain, physical, emotional, psychological, they're all signs to tell you, hey, you have to stop, you have to pay attention and release those things that is stopping you from moving forward. So when I did that, I in with the back injury, I actually, quit my full-time job. I really loved my job as a designer. I had a great team I was working with, great boss, but I realized that something was telling me that I had to stop and I had to give priority to my health. If you don't have your health, well, you don't have much of a great life now, do you? So it was my health at that point that was telling me, hey, you need to wake up and you need to realize that something is happening that I need to release. There was emotions stagnated, stuck in my body that I had to release, and it wasn't letting me move forward with my life, i.e., being able to walk again, until I released that and recognized that what was actually the cause of the effect of having that injury and having that chronic pain. What was the cause? And so I realized with my back injury, it was me not following my life purpose in my life. At that point, when I was married, I realized it was a great life that I had, but it wasn't my potential. And I'm all about reaching my full potential. And I guess it's what makes me so perfect as a coach, because I really love it, seeing people reach their fullest potential. So I realized I had to stop my life, re-examine, become aware of what I was doing to myself, to my body, that stopped me from reaching my goals. Well, maybe I didn't have those goals at that point, so it was a wake-up call. It was really a moment where I had to recognize I need to release something that's stuck in my body that's creating this chronic pain, and it wouldn't let me go until I did that. So I did manage to heal myself. I followed my intuition and I went to see a different chiropractor who helped me, start to move the discs in my back and start to get it unstuck and allow this. And actually, when he did that adjustment for me, Phil, I'm talking about you if you're ever listening to this, he helped me get unstuck in my body, and I could feel the blood release to flow into my legs, and I could feel that energy flowing back into my legs, giving me, wow, it had really pinched something, and that actually helped release all of it and helped me. It was really, really painful, but I guess it was like that wake up call that I needed so I wouldn't fall back into the old patterns, right? So that helped me release, and within 6 months, then I was fine again. Had to still be careful. I couldn't train martial arts like I used to. I really had to change my life and move into a more, I guess, feminine way of being, because I had been living that very masculine life, very achievement driven, martial arts, very much about not so much fighting, but just like really standing up to authority, I guess, just like being a warrior, I guess. So it kind of just helped me to recognize, okay, I've got to like change this part because my body is complaining, my external world is telling me something. So that I suppose is a really good example of being able to release. Okay, cool. So that was hopefully pretty clear. Cool. So step two is what I call rewriting. So the first step is release. The second step is rewriting. So now that you've cleared that space, that you've recognized you had that old stuff that wasn't serving you, you've let go of that. You've cleared that space. So, for example, with my back injury, once I'd let go and my body was starting to work again, it was starting to become whole and functioning and balanced. What happens is that you have to replace that old programming with a new software upgrade. So it's when I first started personal growth, I think it was like 2008, around that time, they say that you need to surround yourself with different people. You need to replace the old programming. Otherwise, you'll fall back into the old kind of programming if you don't update your software, so to speak. because the mind is so impressionable. It's so able to absorb things like beautifully, like a sponge, that if we don't give it the correct program and the correct focus, the correct um, uh, like future vision, then it's so impressionable that it can just absorb anything that you want around it. So you have to be really careful what you sow, I guess, into the fertile garden of your mind. What kind of seeds do you replant into the fertile garden of your mind, of that software that you need to reprogram, right? So this rewriting part is really important. It's also about creating awareness what you don't want. So you may have had a lot of experiences, a lot of relationships that you may have looked at in that release step and went, hey, hang on a second. I don't want that kind of guy. I don't want that guy that makes me feel this way, that I feel trapped, that I feel I've lost my independence, that I can't reach my fullest potential. I don't want to be with somebody who, makes me feel like XYZ. I don't want to let them make me feel like XYZ, right? So, um, this is a beautiful space where you get to design the kind of relationship that you want. How often did we get to do that? Like, I suppose when we're growing up, when you in school, you start to like the boy in your class or something like that. I started very late. I had crushes on guys in high school, and I was still so shy, too shy to, date anyone. But basically, that's how it happened when we were growing up, wasn't it? Like, you met someone in school, you met somebody in your workplace, you recognize, wow, he likes me back and I like him. You get together, and then you date, or with my family, it was more like no dating, just straight to marriage. In my kind of conservative Asian upbringing, that we didn't get that opportunity to date. It was more like go straight into marriage if you like somebody. I guess it's more a traditional cultural kind of thing. It wasn't like in the Western world where you're dating. Your mum is like your best friend. You can talk to her about anything. My mum, I guess, found it very awkward to talk about relationships, to talk about sex, to give advice and that kind of stuff. And the kind of advice she did give me was stuff that I didn't want. It was like very much like, oh, you're too forward, or you're too this, or you're too that, and you should do that. And it was stuff that didn't resonate with me. So it was a kind of advice that wasn't so useful for me. So anyway, so about rewriting, what I really like, what really struck me, and this is actually a concept that I got from my business mentor, and he's very much spiritual, conscious, and uses a lot of manifestation in the business programming world, and business programming strategies as well. He talks about shifting your identity, and when I really got this concept, it really hit home, and it really helped me a lot in my business and in many areas of my life. And another business mentor was also talking about that, and it was talking about the shifting your identity into into the identity, the new identity, the persona that gives you what you want instead of what you are currently getting. So, as Albert Einstein says, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. So if you are, say, in your current identity, you're this fabulous single woman, you've got this amazing career, business, you're successful, yet you keep dating the same way, you keep meeting the same kind of men, you keep doing the same kind of things day in, day out, monthly, yearly, and then years later, you're still single, right? What's happening here? It's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So what needs to change? So a really powerful way of rewriting this step two, is to shift towards a new identity. So what does that mean exactly? So the current identity you have now is giving you the results in your external world, in your life right now. Would you agree? So this is the essence of cause and effect. So if you are doing the same things over and over and getting the same results, would it not be fair to say that you need to change at the core, at the identity level, in order to get different results? Would that be fair to say? So, say, for example, your current identity now is that fabulous single woman, doing these things as single women do. You fill your calendar with yoga, with meditation, with events, socializing, networking, work stuff, right? These are great, but is this giving you the result that you want? So take a look at now the new or different identity, the kind of woman who has the kind of relationship that you want. What is her identity? So a lot of business mentors will say you cannot create a future from your current identity or your current mindset that will give you the results of what you want. You need to create your future from your future identity. So hopefully this is not confusing you more, but your future identity is basically that of the significant other, the partner who's in a committed relationship, the identity of a mother if you want to have kids, of a girlfriend, or the significant other that of a partner. What is she doing differently to you? So look at that. Now, you might say, well, I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like that person in that stagnant relationship. I don't want to be that woman I was in that relationship before. We're not talking about that. We're talking about completely rewriting and redesigning your identity to become and to be in that space of that who receives the kind of relationship that that particular kind of person, that upgraded version of you, will have in her life. Hopefully that makes sense. So as a great example, very simple, very easy to understand, the idea of if you identify with the identity of a smoker, you will buy cigarettes, you will have smoke breaks, you will have other friends who smoke. You will be asking for people for a light when you've forgotten your own lighter. You'll go up to strangers and say, "Hey, can I grab a cigarette? Can I?" You do all those things and actions and behavior of a person who identifies as a smoker. Now, if you want to shift your identity and say, I'm a non-smoker, you would have a very different set of habits, behaviors, thoughts, and actions, right? A non-smoker would not even think about buying cigarettes. They wouldn't be planning out, okay, where's the kiosk or the shop that I can buy cigarettes? Me, as a non-smoker, I've never thought about buying cigarettes. I don't even know how much they cost. I don't know anything about buying cigarettes or smoking. I've tried it maybe once or twice. I really didn't like it. Didn't suit or resonate with me. So my identity of a non-smoker has a completely different behavior and set of actions to that of a smoker, right? So what you want to do in this step, and we do a lot of exercises and techniques in my online program, is to create that new future, that software programming in the identity of the significant other, the girlfriend, the partner, the wife, or mother. That actually gives you a lot more space. And also, another really cool Albert Einstein quote, he says, you cannot create solutions in the same mind as he that has created the problems. Don't quote me on that. That's not exactly the right words, but he's basically saying that you need a new level of information, new evolution of consciousness. You need to become aware of something new and different in order to create the solutions to the problems that you had before. And you need to be creating them from the mind of that new identity. So if you're stuck in this situation of like, I'm single, I've been single for such a long time, I don't even know, how long it's been, or it's been such a long time since I've been with somebody, and you're constantly trying to find a date from this position, Just like in business, if you're have the very scarcity mindset and you're trying to do business with this scarcity mindset, it will bring scarcity results. So it's the same kind of thing. You've got to create a new type of life that you want from a new mindset. Cool. So next step is step 3, and it's all about receiving. So step 1 was about release. Step 2 is about rewriting, and step 3 is about receiving. So we've been living in a very masculine, patriarchal society for, let's say, centuries. We've had the suppression of women over these many centuries and a very masculine approach to the world, which included a lot of wars, a lot of fighting, killing in the name of religion, in the name of righteousness, all these kind of things that I would say are very masculine led. So I'm sure if we had a much more feminine society, matriarchal society, we wouldn't have had a lot of the problems and evolution of humanity in the way that we did. This is just my view, okay? So, because of this masculine patriarchal society that we now live in, it has, it's been a lot of pushing, forcing. It's very driven, ambition led, not necessarily for the good of humanity and humankind, but it was a way of achieving things. And we have achieved a lot. We have evolved as a human species, right? But I suppose with in the 60s, we had the feminist movement about equality, and this also helped us to rebalance the scales to into a more woman feminist, feminine energy led, where we're more recognized in society for the values that we bring, right, and what we contribute to society. Now, so I guess we talk about the universal law of polarity here, and the law of gender, the masculine and feminine, exists in all things, all physical, mental, spiritual, all things. So with this feminist movement, it's actually overbalanced the scales, and we've become a society that women don't know. We don't recognize our feminine power. We don't recognize our feminine energy and empowers ourselves, and that advantage that we have of receiving. So that has created this imbalance, and this is where women have become very, I guess, too much of our masculine, because we've been trained this way to survive in our society, that men actually don't know how to be men. So it's this problem on both sides that women have become more in their masculine. A lot of very successful women are not able to find men who can be man enough for them, and it's created a lot of imbalance. So we've had the imbalance of masculine energy. Now we've had the imbalance of feminine energy, and not enough of our femininity, but too much in our feminist way of being. So now is a time to recalibrate that again, to rediscover that balance. And life is all about balance. It's all about finding that equilibrium. And I'm not saying equality, because equality I don't believe in, as you might have listened to one of my other episodes about 49, 51, that we are balanced, but we are not equal. Men will never be able to give birth, so I think that's a major advantage that we have. And so we need to come into we need to empower ourselves and to understand what are the best ways that we can use our natural gifts to our advantage, that we can grow and flourish and contribute to our society, to our relationships, to the men in our lives, so that we can bring about this harmony back into the world. And I think it really starts with the feminine energy. So step 3 about receiving, we have, I guess, lost the art of how to receive with grace, how to receive what we ask for, because we're asking and asking a lot, but are we getting what we want? No. Why? Because we're not in our ability, in our empowered state, in order to receive what we ask for. So I guess a good example of this is me being in my masculine energy as an alpha woman, that I'm not able to ask for help. I'm not able to ask for, or even hard to outsource in my business, right? I think a lot of women might feel, well, I need to this has to be done in a good way. No one else can do as good a job as I can. Probably a lot of men think this in their business as well. But women tend to feel like we take on too much responsibility and we don't ask for help. I think that's what the advantage was living in our village society in the past, where the women in the village would work together and look after each other's children, look after each other, and have this community of sharing these tasks and responsibilities. So it doesn't just all fall onto your shoulders as the woman in your family or your relationships. So it becomes a much easier way of sharing responsibilities when we're able to receive help that we ask for and actually ask for help. So this is that feminine energy of receiving. So in other ways that it comes to you is asking for your manifestation. So if you've been trying to manifest and you haven't been you haven't seen your manifestation come true, this could be a really important step for you to recognize that you're asking for a lot of stuff, yet you're not getting it, and why. If you've worked through the resistance and the releasing part, you've also been able to rewrite and create the kind of design the exact relationship that you want. Then what is that last essential point? It's about receiving. So this could be like the game changer for you, basically, to find that relationship in your life. So hopefully this was really informative and practical for you. If you want to learn a bit more about how these 3 steps work in terms of attracting that high value man live, in person, offline, without dating apps and all that kind of online stuff, I'd love for you to join me in my new webinar. It's a really straight, practical, simple, and easy way that you can meet your ideal partner in as little as 90 days. I've had lots of clients and students meet their partner within 3 to 6 months, and it seems to be like a kind of a nice time frame to know about, so you don't feel like you're waiting forever, right? And not saying that this is a strict rule. This is not going to happen for everyone, and I'll speak about it in another podcast about karma as well, and how that relates to your soulmate finding you and finding each other. So I believe that you can meet your ideal partner within 3 to 6 months. I'd love for you to discover how. So please join me in my free live webinar, and you can register on the link. I'll put it into the description below. And please keep listening to my podcast. Let me know if you love it. Let me know if you have any other questions that you want answered on this podcast. Send me a message on my Instagram. It's at Michelle Chung Coach. Michelle is MICHELLE. Chung, CHUNG, Coach. That's my Instagram. So I really look forward to hearing from you. Hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I'll see you in the webinar. Take care.